path at the beginning of the game, heading just under Novo up towards Gatka. Now, this is a fantastic little drop spot already for Stalwart. I'd imagine they're going to be dropping out the plane here, but it's Aton jumping out almost immediately, heading up possibly towards Mill to Power. That's a drop spot that they've been loving recently. Rozhok, on the other hand, quite inaccessible, and that was going to be quite the big hot drop for a lot of teams like Donuts heading up there, a few other teams on that location with DAMWON, Kia just underneath them in School and Apps, but you can see that Stalwart already immediately in Nova Repnoya. Sometimes they will head towards North Sosnovka, but this is their preferred drop, and this is great for an 18-man lobby, John.
Yeah, and then Wildcats as well over on that military base, joining them on that South Island. Those northern crossings may be a little bit more populated, do you think, after those bridges with this plane path as south as it is. Some teams will try and migrate north, sure, but that traffic jam will certainly have an impact.
Yeah, you're just trying to cover as much of the map as possible. You know, James, Max, Jason on the desk, all talking about this beforehand, saying that, you know, there is going to be a lot of space on the map that you're going to have to cover. Not so many scouting positions now can be taken for these teams, just in the early game at least, just in case you get caught off guard by a team that's in the vicinity that you maybe wouldn't think would be there before. Though we do have Vampire, Esports, they are doing their usual drop down towards Ferry Pier, Quarry, and Primors, really taking things wide at the beginning of this game.
Yeah, a little bit of a late dropout, sure, but it was fairly close by to the plane path, right? So they will have plenty of time to be able to navigate and get things sorted for themselves moving forwards on their northerly movements that will have to come through as the circle pops. So it looks like Falcon already in competition with Morph. The top of the hill currently occupied by Morph.
Yeah, it's going to be quite difficult here for Morph to actually... well, it's very easy for Morph to pick up on this one because Falcon's drop is a little bit further up towards Yaz, honestly. So Morph drop out early, get the catch on Falcons. Already taken one player from alone down here. Does get res back up into the fight, though. So not quite elimination coming through just yet. But Donuts USG actually currently have 2 points already.
Yeah, they're starting to pop off. I mean, looks like they've managed to find themselves a little bit of a spot. Falcons, as we were talking about, rezzed up in a little bit of cover. Presence known, though, between those two teams on that split area. Never alone. Has his team. Yep. Seems to play to the name. But look at this. You've got Box Gaming with some trouble.
Yeah, Box dropping right on the coastal side, and it's VGS trying to pass by them in vehicles. Now, VGS have 2 spots. It's up towards Severny as their secondary, Lipovka as their primary. Not able to get to any of them. So this is so awkward, but this is now time for Box to try and show some dominance. They regrouped around Break and SOAS after their decent PMGC. I think it was World League. Now they really need to show their stuff here after losing a couple of players and reforming.
Nearly perfect nade there coming through from Break, but doesn't quite get the knock. They will have got that hit marker, that indication that there's a player close. They know there's a vehicle moved. Will they still know that there's a player this close? Mini 14 with the 4X on the off angle for VGS. Should be pretty solid at holding down this ridgeline, but if 3 players from Box go down, it's going to be tough. Around the side, though, gives away the position, and it's an easy spray down for Box Gaming to pick up their first elimination of the game.
That's a really sick just run around there from the team. Very fantastic stuff overall. VGS just crumbling, obviously not able to get either of their drum spots in this game, and they just fumble for it. And this is what the 18-team lobby does to you. You know, you try and head to a spot that you think may be free, but it's just not.
Still bleeding out VGS, down to 2. They will be taken on out. Donuts, they were contesting as well. Nigma Galaxy taking early losses. These are the 2 points that you were pointing out earlier.
Yep. Yeah, that is rough there. But USG, honestly, this is a team that really wanted to take Rozhok. You know, in all the practice games we see them play before this, they have always gone Rozhok here. Just looking at anything on my drops in terms of statistics, you know, 4 Rivals was the other team that was going to head over here. But in fact, you know, Nigma Galaxy tried to challenge out. Usually they're the Pachinki team, so maybe they dropped just slightly short. USG had to go a little bit further. And just on the way, they picked up a couple of points.
You love to see it.
Yeah.
Certainly if you're a USG fan. Falcon, 4 players in a vehicle. not advisable. They're heading towards Yasnaya Poliana as well, which is currently occupied by Morph. On this northern rotation, they are behind the game. Morph on the western side of Yasnaya right now. They will be holding down a lot of those buildings, a lot of those compounds. Hopefully they're going to spot the Falcons' approach, right? It's a very open field. If you're looking that way, you will be seeing them. They're only in one vehicle as well, which means that if you're taking some pot shots, you might even be able to get a couple of eliminations there.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a real chance for it. Now, VGS, you know, broken and battered, heading up still past DAMWON Kia, who've still gone for that apps school split. It's a little tighter this time, though, and I respect that from DAMWON Kia. James on the desk was talking about, you know, how really they wanted to keep things survival-based. Get towards the end of the game. It's not about huge eliminations, just consistently putting up those placement points. Now, that's going to give you a good average point over in the PMWI, but 3 days, you do need to strike out a little bit. Donuts USG getting these initial 2 points and also claiming Rozhok straight away. This is fantastic for them. And Donuts USG, they've come out on top in Japan at the moment. Even in the PUBG Mobile showdown between Korea and Japan, they were a full 10 points ahead of anyone else in that lobby right at the top. So really fantastic stuff from Donuts USG so far.
Hopefully spinning around, turning their opponents' heads whenever they can. Morph, I think they have spotted Falcons. Falcons, you can see, still with a little bit of damage on board. That might have been from earlier, probably still healing that one up. Never Alone was the player who was already knocked by the enemy team. I don't know if it was Morph, actually. I have to go back and watch that again. But Falcons did get knocked. Oh, it was Morph from up the hill. That was the first engagement that they had. So they did already do a little bit of damage. It looks like they will not leave each other alone for now. VGS down to 2 players. They've spotted back-to-back on the ridge line. It looks like, back-to-back just want to take up position.
Yeah.
And see whatever vantage points they can try and claim.
This is fairly interesting as well because Regans trying to head in the direction of Morph. These are 2 teams that drop in Yasnaya. Regans with a Yasnaya South Kameshki split, but Falcons trying to take up this position as well over in Yasnaya. So a lot of contention on this eastern side of the map. I know that, you know, 52 Esports, they've tried to take Stalba and then South Yasnaya as well before, but right now they're right on the western coast at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they've changed it up. I mean, to be fair, there have to be some changes, right? In this lobby, it's a new mode that these teams won't have played with 18 teams in it, right? It is seemingly a small difference, but it absolutely will have an impact, as the desk covered previously. So we'll have to see what impact that actually has, because right now, we haven't seen much more than 1 or 2 hot drops, right?
Well, what I will say, you know, is that people have been very stubborn on their drop spots. And even just from the small research that I was able to do, I say small, no, modest, small research they were able to do about their drop spots beforehand in this tournament, you know, a lot of these teams have gone for these drop spots regardless of how south that playing path was. So, you know, we could have this gentleman's agreement going on from a lot of these teams. It's like, these are our spots, we can't go away from them. So secondary spots just really aren't too available anymore. And for that reason, if you get a really, really bad playing path, you could be in for a very bad game.
The playing path on this one was very south, and the circle did shift up north. And I'm looking at the teams that have made that journey north early, and I'm looking at 4 rivals, right? All the way up in Severny. Right at the top of this circle now, playing from their northern bastion. Stalwart Esports on the southeast of the circle, just about crossing in. One of the favorites of this tournament right now, Blank.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I don't have too many notes on this team just because they play things so clean, and there's only so many ways you can write clean, to be honest with you. So I was very, very impressed with Stalwart. I think so is the desk. You know, they're set for a fantastic PMWI, but we could see some rising stars and rising countries just come out of nowhere and blast them out of the water, but we'll have to wait and see here. But for Stalwart, so far, things have been very good. I really do like this Novo drop for them in the beginning here. The edge of the map with 18 teams, it's going to be rough. There's not a lot of positions to play in, and with the loot that you get on board from Novo, with the 6 to 7 med kits that we saw already on just one of their players, you know, they'll be able to outlast that storm on the edge.
You'd hope so, with the caliber of teams that we're dealing with anyway. Although that works to their detriment as well, doesn't it? I mean, they have to face off against this super high caliber lobby. It's not going to be easy. Aton take up the gas station. It's out to the west of Yasnaya Polyana. And Morph looking their way.
Yeah, so Morph just on that western road, right, with Aton just underneath them. And Yasnaya, for Morph, that being their original spot, they've actually moved west here towards that northern coast. So, you know, they're just looking out for any cheeky teams that try and hold on this north coast. And it's a great idea as well, because it's a very easy position to corner and cause mayhem from many teams, because you don't really want to cluster around this southern edge. There's so much space up towards Severny, especially with that southern playing path. This is a great position to, you know, take up and just chill out, take some time for yourself, especially if you dropped in South George. Like some of the teams, in fact, we've already seen TJB move up. Vampire Esports might want to head up there, so will 52 just in the South George bridge right now. So Morph could get a lot of points just from this singular position.
I'm looking at USG as well, right? You talked about earlier in the game. It's great. They've managed to get Rozhok. They've managed to lay claim to that area. But if they don't leave there early enough, it could prove to be their tomb, their mausoleum, right? If they aren't able to get across early enough, if it's a northern shift, they could really be scuppered.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can take every one of these teams and just imagine that they're elastic bands. And USG is that first elastic band. And you know when you create that elastic band ball, at some point it is going to break and explode. And poor USG is right in the middle. They are going to get,
Just get bigger elastic bands. I don't.
You could do. I'm working with very small elastic bands here.
We certainly have had that opportunity, probably more so than most of these other teams. Morph had to move a lot at the start. I mean, Nigma Galaxy might have had that opportunity, but unfortunately they lost 2 players early.
Ooh.
4 rivals jetting down from the north side.
You absolutely would as well. I mean, this is a great time for them. You know, you get such an awful playing path. You head up all the way to Severny, and the circle just continues to move north and north and north. And now at this point in time, they were being quite passive, but with this shift, they are absolutely sending it down into the circle, trying to take a position as fast as they can in one of the compounds. But it's TJB that's rocking up on 4 rivals who've just come to this position.
GK First leading the charge, getting first opening and doing it brilliantly. Living up to the name. First elimination for the TJB squad now. 4 rivals in the corner, backed up to the back building here. The height advantage in favor of TJB. Morph over the ridgeline as well. Watch out for that scout. Watch out for the third party if this fight goes on too long. The off angle is there for 4 rivals. You could see that in the minimap on the top right. They have got those sightlines to control, but Lin's moving forwards as well, putting pressure on 4 rivals, forcing them out of this compound, of this cover. They want to try and catch them. They don't quite have the off angles, not just yet, but with that nade, jumper taken low. 4 rivals behind the vehicle. Lin out first. Zhao soon to follow, looking to go out wide. Will they spot the player? They should have caught sight of that one, and those bullets will certainly give the game away. The gunshots ring out, but not finding the knock. Jumper now in more danger. Swings around the corner. Lin sprays, but the Scar doesn't quite land it. Half HP, and it's spotted. There is the off angle. Tingsker finds what TJB are looking for. 2 players from 4 rivals are down.
Really incredible stuff. And yeah, I'm loving to see the new Scar love coming through, the most recent buffs for the guns coming into the game. You know, Scar being almost as good as the M4 now, if not better, depending in the hands. So really, really nice to see a little bit more variation in terms of that weaponry. Already another little knock coming through for Team Soul. But yeah, great stuff from TJB. Considering they were all the way over towards Hospital South George, that was one hell of a send that they made happen over towards this compound, which is now extremely central in this circle.
TJB firing for Nigma Galaxy, the first team to go down fully blank. They lost 2 players very early.
Yeah.
You kind of think, fair enough, go again.
It's a bit of a struggle, though, for Nigma Galaxy. It's not kind of the precedent you want to be setting as that team when everyone knows you as the survivalist. You are the Bear Grylls of the lobby, and it's just not working out for them here. Scry from Stalwart taking some shots over towards Wildcats. Already Ray going down. Defoe off in the distance, takes some pot shots back, but now it's the Wildcats having to regroup here and trying to make something work.
A moment, Wildcats heavily under fire for Stalwart on the south side of them, but there's a traffic jam to get further into the zone as the next circle pops heavily south as well. So it will be on their shoreline. But They have a lot of treacherous ground ahead of them.
Action eliminating Ray here.
Of course, if you guys want to earn points, you can complete daily mission. Once enough points are accumulated, you can tap on the rewards icon in the game to claim the corresponding reward. That's if you're watching enough of this PMWI.
You can participate in the event solo or team up with other players. That's absolutely fine. And you know what? Just like the players in the PMWI, teaming up could get you that reward just a little bit easier.
There's Vampire. You can see, you were talking about them earlier. They're swimming in the river right now. I always think that these river finishes in the middle section near that Rozhok crossing is one of the most brutal places that these circles can finish.
I mean, all these teams on the northern side are going to be dragged across sandpaper, basically trying to get into this circle. It's so unfortunate because you assume it's going north here. TJB got such a nice position, and it swings back down south. Now, I want to see USG, the Japanese team, translate this because they've been given such a good opportunity here for a chicken dinner right at the beginning of the day.
Aton looking to guard them out. Currently on the eastern side of the circle. Will stop that rotation north, stop that progression west. Make things difficult. DAMWON ahead. You can see they're taking a couple of knocks from back to back. I think this is the circle where most of this impact to the 18-team lobby will be felt, although we are down to 62 players.
17 teams still. I did not expect this at this point in the game. Already 17 minutes in. It's absolutely nutty here. 52 Esports do knock themselves, though. That is extremely unfortunate. They're coming from that western side. But Stalwart, we mentioned them. They were taking a fight versus the Wildcats, and this is where they need to play the edge game perfectly. They've been thrown a little bit of a lifeline here on the southern edge. See if they can make anything happen with it.
Stalwart taking shots. Really fast and strong rotation, I'd say, but Lightning does get caught there, unfortunately, for the spray down. And they are going to lose him at the wall, at the top, back-to-back, have their Polo. Representative for the squad. As the nades start to ring out. They're not going full aggression just yet, Blank.
Now, if you want to get yourself the 2022 PMWI Gunskin and outfit, you know, we have a sale period going on through from the 4th of August through to the 13th of August. We have 50% off PMWI packs, and you get a set straight away in that time frame and 5 extra chances to draw the PMWI treasure chest.
And if you miss out on that first sale period, there is a second one from the 14th of September all the way up till the 15th of the next month, where you get 16% off PMWI packs. You get 6 chances to draw PMWI treasure chests.
Looking straight back at the game here, back-to-back have actually made it quite far from there. It was quite a difficult drop spot for them on that southern edge on the coast. Wildcats still in this one with 3 players. Surprisingly, you know, they took an absolute beating from Stalwart on that southeastern edge, but the circle is starting to close in right now. Directly on top of Rozhok. Oh, USG, yes please.
They're very happy about that, you're right. We talked about how it might be their mausoleum, but instead it's going to be their pedestal.
Of Primos, kind of that split, and then rotate all the way north, get themselves underneath the bridge, which for some of those circles is very sock. They were able to transition from the bridge away effectively, take out people there, steal some of that kind of position from Donuts as time went on. Vampires played an absolutely spectacular game in a lobby that we had a lot of question marks around it.